Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, Lithuania, it's presidential election day in Lithuania. Lithuania is electing a new president. We have the current president, who I'm not a fan of, and nor, if you're from the United States, or you're conservative from the United States, or a conservative worldwide, internationally, you shouldn't like this guy either. This guy, although as an independent, he's a full-blown leftist and famously a neocon that has basically destroyed Russo-Lithuanian relations, even putting Lithuania in a very extremely vulnerable state. If World War III breaks out, Putin could probably aim at Lithuania, because Lithuania has been probably the second biggest country that has been showed more active, the most active country in Europe, whether, as you know, giving aid to Ukraine, as you know, in the current Russo-Ukrainian war. This guy's a neocon, as you know. This guy has the attitude. This guy's a complete child. And I'm sorry if you're clicked on this, if you're from Lithuania and insulting your leader. But if you're a conservative Lithuanian, I would assume you would agree, because this guy is, I'm sorry, he's a child. And not to mention, pretty much all the leaders in Europe in NATO are literal children, because what they're doing, they're the people that are dragging us into this war, because what they're doing is they're saying no compromise, no solutions to nothing. We have Ukraine's back on this and this and this. Russia back down, and it's my way or no way. And Nausėda was one of those people that were very vocal, and it's okay. You know, Putin is your opponent, right? Putin's your opponent. You should be firm against your opponent. Say, hey, but you should try to negotiate and steer around from a possible war. Compromise. In the end, it might make Ukraine mad, but it's better to keep Europe safe from a war than to basically get into a war to take down your mortal enemy. But this is what he wants. He wants to take down Putin in a war, and I'll tell ya, he's gonna lose, because Lithuania, no offense, does not have a very strong military compared to Russia. It's just a fact. And sure, they would be good when it comes to invading the Kaliningrad Oblast, but Russia could just sweep the Baltics in like 3 days. Their military is very more the Baltic military is less competent than the Ukrainian military, especially when you have NATO giving arms to Ukraine. And when there's sure, in a World War III situation, NATO would give the Baltics arms and all that, but they would have to split the arms and the supplies with other regions that Russia is invading. So supposedly you're not getting much. And comparing that with your already small military, that you probably don't stand a chance. But yeah, this is why I don't like this guy. Fiscally and socially, this guy's a clown. He's a socialist. He comes from the LSD. Its initials are pretty weird. The LSDP. This is the alliance he sets up, and the LRP. And these political parties are leftist political parties. You'll see it's left wing, not center left, like we would love to believe, but it's not. Instead, we are actively supporting Ingrida Samoniete, who comes from the TSLKD, and that is very long, but it's a center-right political party. And I'll tell you, learning about that political party is kind of interesting. So, national security in the aftermath of the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine really wasn't It's still going on. And the financing of the military universal conscription and managing efforts of the aging population, costs of living, ratification of the Istanbul Convention, and Nausėda's 2019 presidential campaign and alleged connections with businesses from Russia and Belarus. The Samyete conflict and its conflict. Yeah. So I have no doubt about it. The TS LKD is also pretty neocon. And a subscriber of mine, I don't know if he was from Finland, but he says, it was back in the Finnish presidential election. He says, hey, if you actively say you don't support Ukraine's efforts, or hey, you know what, I want a ceasefire in the Russo-Ukrainian war, you would get beat up by that. You would be called a pro-Putinist, a Putin sympathizer. Here's the thing, you can't be in the middle anymore. I will tell you guys, I'm not pro-Ukraine. I'm not pro-Russia. I'm pro-ceasefire for the Russo-Ukrainian war, because when we end this war, no more American taxpayers will go to this silly war. Here's the thing. And when we end the Russo-Ukrainian conflict with a ceasefire, redraw the map, Ukraine will have to sacrifice some land. And you know what? That's too much for them. They're like, no, if you give Ukrainian land to Putin, then you obviously are pro-Putin. No, because that's how you end wars. You have to give the enemy something so they'll stop invading. They'll get it whatever they want. It's just, war politics is crazy. And honestly, the conflict is influencing the world, especially here in the United States, where we have to pay for Ukraine military. It's just ridiculous. And we have problems going on in the United States that is totally being deprioritized. So it's frustrating, ultimately very frustrating. So I want to go ahead, and we did a lot of talking with politics in regards to Lithuania and their stance and the current conflict in Ukraine. Lithuania is an interesting country. It's a country that is easily swayed by the left and the right. So, looking up the current presidents of Lithuania, you'll see, actually, hang on, before I do that, you'll notice there's a trend. Typically, the president tends to be an independent. Why I think that is? Well, everyone likes to vote for someone that is not aligned or doesn't take a side, that is neutral. To be honest, Nausėda's not neutral. He's a full-blown leftist and a neocon. But he knows that going as an independent will mean that I'm going to attract people from different parties. Specifically, he'll be attracting people from different leftist groups, or in this case, different liberal, or I would say liberal and refugees. I don't know, yeah. But he'll be attracting those sort of people. You'll see the latest president in 2014, Dalia Grybauskaitė, hard to pronounce your name, but she was a conservative, but she stayed more in the center, and she had won the election by 59%. You'll see same deal in 2009. 2004, you'll see the independent seems to always win. The last time a non-independent would win an election would be 2002, where Rolandas Paksas from the LDP, the Order and Justice Liberal Democratic Party, which is a far-right political party, won the election by 54.71%. Because he's coming from the far right, I'm guessing Valdas Adamkus kind of campaigned on a more centrist liberal platform. That's kind of what I'm expecting. And he was the president at the time. But yeah, interestingly enough, and this round is actually going into a second round, right? The first round is pretty much over. 93.9%. The results will have to be posted. But what we're seeing here is current results. We have Gitanas Nausėda. He is so far projected the winner of the first round. That's not a good sign. I was actually hoping that, Semonte, what we're just going to call her Ingrida, she managed to win some polls. Well, actually, to be quite honest with you, Nausėda won a lot of polls, and most of the first round polls predicted that Nausėda would be facing off Samonite. I don't know if Ingrida has a chance in this one. You're facing an incumbent president, a country that is very neocon. And, let's give it to them. They're united, unlike our country. They are united. They are pro-Ukraine. They're united on one issue. And and I would say Nausėda has utilized this Ukraine issue to his advantage to say, hey, you know what? I'm the incumbent president. I am going to do what I'm going to do. I have experienced the Russia-Ukrainian war broke out in my tenure, during my office, when I was in office. I should fulfill the role of ending it. I'm experienced, right? We like to believe. I'm experienced. I've worked with NATO, etc. Yeah, sure. This is essentially a rematch too, because Semonete was running in 2019, and you'll see Nausėda won in a landslide once again against the said Simonte in Lithuania. You'll see different. This is by municipality. I don't know if that's the map we'll be using for this thumbnail, but ultimately, what I'm hoping for on May 26th of 2024, I am hoping that the Ingrida campaign sees the results of the May 13th. No, it's the May 12th. It's May 13th in Lithuania. It says it's May 13th, but I hope they see the results and they say, hey, you know what? This is concerning. We need to get all these political parties that have been eliminated in the first round to support her campaign. That's what we kind of need to push. But till then, you got independents mainly. You'll see Ignas Vėgėlė managed to get, and yeah, he's a Lithuanian lawyer and right-wing politician who has been president of the Lithuanian Bar Association from 2014 to 2022. So very kind of that role. And he probably should go out and get his 106,000 voters and tell them to go out and support Semonte, who roughly got 16.34%. If Nausėda got more voters, he would have been projected the winner. But ultimately, tonight, which is in Lithuania, because it's technically evening time in Lithuania, you get a second round. You're getting a second round, and that's what I was kind of hoping for, because second round kind of gives you leverage. So, and yeah, it looks like this race was probably going to be in favor of President Nausėda overall. So, yes, there's Vėgėlė. There's this guy, I'm not going to try. He's from the Dawn of Nemunas, who got 10%. This is a far-right political party. Actually got a double-digit amount of a percentage number. And I mean, she's gonna if she wants to win, she would have to associate. She's gonna have to get those far right voters in her campaign. She's gonna have. She might not like the far right. I don't know. She could be a moderate conservative, and she say, but in order to win, you would have to get this guy and the Dawn of Nausėda's campaign to fund this girl right here, Lithuanians. But yeah, there's also others here. There's and there's also going to be other numbers like Andreas Mazuronis, who was the he's also a leftist. He's coming from the Labour Party, a left-wing political party, not as left as Nausėda, but there's also Gitanas, who comes from, he has 1%, and I don't know if he's, but the point is that her Homeland Union campaign needs to come and get more voters abroad in order to challenge Nausėda. I will tell you, Nausėda has the upper hand. He's the incumbent. He is ultimately has a big issue in his favor, Ukraine. He is the experienced politician. Critics of the war, and then again, you can't be a critic of the war in Lithuania. You can't complain about gas prices, and you can't do that, etc., etc. Otherwise, you're pro-Putin. But this is how they think. But secret critics, will probably go for Semeniante, probably for economic reasons. And also, as you know, because, believe it or not, the economy plays a role in the conflict. As you know, I should say other way around, the conflict plays a role with the economy. But what do you guys think? Who do you think's going to win? I have to tell you, it's probably going to be Nausėda. But yes, we are going to be doing a second video on May 26th because that election would probably end. We'll probably have a winner by then, and we'll be projecting that winner. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.